What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for another Tottenham update in the midst of international roundup. We've got a few transfer tidbits to talk about as well. We're with Brian Daigle. How's it going over there in Toronto, Brian?
All good, mate. All good. As I said to you, it's very weird seeing you in pitch black and looking outside and seeing it broad daylight. I'm still getting used to that time difference when I'm with you, but apart from that, all good here in Toronto.
Sounds good, my friend. If you are new around here, smash that subscribe button. Also, go and visit our website where we get daily blog post written content as well that we're delivering for you guys. So it's wattv.co.uk. And let's start off talking about a story I actually spoke to you guys about on Friday or Saturday, whenever it was. Yeah, I think it was Friday, about Eric Dyer and Roma. And that one's from Daniel Longo, who does report for Calcio Mercato Web at times. This time, Tutto Sport are talking about it. Again, reports coming from Italy, and they're saying Eric Dyer is Jose Mourinho's favourite profile to improve Roma's defence in January. Roma are restricted due to FFP and are therefore identifying cheaper targets. Jerome Boateng has been touted, but Mourinho favours a reunion with Eric Dyer. And obviously, this is all music to our ears because we need to just finally end this chapter with Eric Dyer. As much as, maybe he has been a good servant, been here for many years. We've moved on from the likes of Eric Dyer probably about 3 years ago, to be honest now. But when you cast your mind back to when Dyer was here when Jose was here and Eric Dyer was his favourite kind of player at centre back, he was actually performing at a not a bad level for times under Jose Mourinho. So can you see why Jose maybe wants to bring Dyer over to Roma?
Well, I think the first thing about it, Ben, is what you said about he's maybe his number one choice, but he said because he's restricted with FFP. I don't think it's his number one overall choice. I think it's within the budget he's got. And you're right, he did get a tune out of Dyer. He spoke very, very highly of Dyer when he came, and certain managers work with certain players. Is Serie A, which is a slower pace, a better fit for Dyer? Possibly. But I think forget what we think about him as a player, and if he's outstayed his welcome, or if it's been to whatever way you want to look at it. I think personally he needs a move to get out of this because I think he's realised not a single minute on the pitch.
Hard to get him on the bench.
Exactly. Overlooked on the bench sometimes for Ashley Phillips. If he wants any chance of resurrecting his England career under Southgate, whether he's got that option or just to get regular first team football at his age, he's got to look at the moves abroad or the ones that are coming in. And a reunion with Jose will probably interest him greatly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's probably a good next step for his career because you're looking at maybe Premier League options for him. I can't really see many European clubs come in for him. And when you're looking at a manager who clearly values him and a team that are in Europe, I mean, and a good league in Serie A as well. I mean, it's probably good all round, isn't it?
Well, you look at it as well. Look what Jose Mourinho's done with Smalling. Players that are getting to a certain age at England and are looking for a new proposition have gone over with Jose and performed well under him. So everything adds up in this, doesn't it? It adds up for us as fans, the club, to try and get some money for him in January, and for him to get his move. I think it's just win-win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, totally agree. So get this done because he doesn't have long left in his contract. So if you're going to get any sort of, I mean, look, to be honest, in terms of getting money is probably the least of our problems with Eric Dyer. Just get him off the wage bill is first and foremost for the one more year. Well, I say one more year, but next summer is when his contract's up, isn't it?
Yeah, but you also look at it, Ben. When it comes to money, what do we pay? 5 million or something for him? So
Yeah.
it's not like it's been a huge outlay and we're making a loss or anything. You look at it, 10 years worth of service, whether you want to say any period has been good. And I think he has had some good periods, especially that first season under Pochettino in that defensive midfield. I think that was his best season in a Spurs shirt. So it's not a huge.
Three last season at White Hart Lane.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's not going to be a major oh my God, we've really lost, like Ndombele or someone. So just get the deal done. If it's still to be made, do it.
Yeah, agreed. Let's move on and let's talk about what happened at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium the other night. Very strange. Paul O'Keefe reported that he understands there had been damage caused to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and the Tottenham experience that runs into the hundreds and thousands of pounds worth of damage. The police actually responded to that tweet, and they said that a man was arrested and he'd been charged with criminal damage and possession of Class B drugs. So they found the man that did it. I mean, very strange one, isn't it? Hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of damage. I mean, do you think that will affect anything in terms? We don't know what the actual damage is, but do you think that that could potentially affect anything for Monday week for the game?
Well, I think the thing you got to look at it first of all is apparently it happened Monday, like last Monday, and we only really broke yesterday, didn't it? So this had happened, and so obviously it wasn't external damage, which was obvious to see, because obviously a load of people would have picked up on it and mentioned it.
And we'd see pictures.
Exactly. And you mentioned the Tottenham experience. So obviously they've got into the building. It's just a strange one. I can't see it. I think if it had casted any shadow on Monday's game against Fulham, I think that would have been announced, wouldn't it? They would have said the game against Fulham is. I think that would have been announced. It would have been assessed. Maybe that's what they were doing in the few days before they announced it, getting it assessed to see if it passes everything. We don't know what the actual damage is. Like I say, it could be a lot more in the Tottenham experience than it is inside the stadium. But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and the police say a man has been arrested, and it's like, can one man do £100,000 worth of damage? I heard Sammy Mockbell, someone saying the damage even went into the six figures.
I'll tell you what, mate, that is a very brave man to try and break into something like that, and try and get out and not be picked up with obviously the security cameras and everything that goes on there. It's extraordinary. But yeah, I mean, that's when we find out the damage, just like you said, one man to cause hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of damage. It's so bizarre, so strange, and let's hope it can be repaired soon.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the international roundup. Obviously, it hasn't finished yet, the internationals, so we'll tell you who has been playing around and where and how they've been getting on. We'll start off with Wales. They've played 2 games so far in international break, and Ben Davies has played two lots of 90 minutes. In the first game, they beat Gibraltar 4-0 in a friendly. Ben Davies getting the opening goal, actually, in that game, a goal, a header from a corner. He only played the first 45 minutes in that game, scored a goal, 4 out of his 5 ground duels, 100% of his aerial duels, which was 1, 97% pass completion rate with 1 key pass, and apparently he had a stunning 45 minutes in that game for Wales. And in the second game, which was actually tonight, Wales beat Croatia by 2-1.
Yeah.
And he was in a back 3 with Joe Rodon, as he was in the first half against Gibraltar. 1 block, 2 clearances, 0 ground duels out of 2, 1 out of 2 aerial duels, 87% pass completion rate, 1 key pass, and 100% on his long balls, which was 3 out of 3 successful long balls. So a very successful international break for Ben Davies there.
Yeah, listen, it was one that was under severe pressure because I had to win this game to stand any chance of automatically qualifying for the upcoming Euros. So a lot of pressure. He does seem to play well for Wales, doesn't he? He always has done. He's comfortable in that back 3 for Wales, which is something he's played in that formation for ages, and he's pulled off some very good numbers for Wales, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And getting on the score sheet is a bonus.
Yeah, look at it. I mean, that's completely. I mean, you look at it now, and we've always discussed like if one of the people get injured in the centre of defence, who's there? And obviously, it's the case of him, Dyer, Phillips. I think that kind of form only boosts his chance of it being him, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him there ahead of Eric Dyer, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, would I like to see him there ahead of potentially an Ashley Phillips, 18-year-old Ashley Phillips? I'm not too sure because I probably need to see more of Ashley Phillips, but I think Ben Davies should be very close to second the pecking order if a Mickey van der Ven gets injured. But if Romero gets injured, maybe you put van der Ven on the right and Davies on the left. But has van der Ven ever played on the right of a defence? So I don't know. It's a difficult one, but I probably think he should be second choice to van der Ven on the left.
I think we can concur there.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about Sweden. They beat Moldova by 3-1, and Dejan Kulusevski got a well-earned rest in this game. Not 1 minute played from him. So I think that, again, that is music to all our ears, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. There's certain players that you're like hoping. Ben Davies, who obviously isn't playing first-team football at the moment or regularly, give him as much time as you need. But people like Dejan Kulusevski, and we all know his work rate and the amount of effort he's putting in, and that is a well-earned rest. And thank you, Sweden.
Next up, let's talk about Argentina. They beat Paraguay by 1-0. Romero played the full game. Lo Celso came on in the last minute just to seal things off. They did win 1-0, and Romero had another stunning game at centre-back, helping him keep a clean sheet. He had 1 interception, 0 times dribble pass, 95 out of his 102 accurate passes, 2 out of his 4 ground duels, 4 out of his 5 aerial duels, 2 fouls drawn. And obviously that was a massive help to keep the clean sheet. And there was also a stat surrounding Cuti Romero, and he is the centre-back with the most duels won in South American World Cup qualifiers so far, with 21 out of 30 duels won. And the plaudits keep coming in for Cuti Romero.
And rightfully so. I mean, he is in a real purple patch right now, and let's just hope it continues for as long as possible. He looks committed, he looks fit, he just looks everything, and the stats don't lie, and it's wonderful to hear. Do you know what? Knowing that he's got 90 minutes, he's a player that you wish wouldn't, but when he's on this kind of form and he's doing that, long may it continue.
Yeah, and Lo Celso coming on for the last minute, so he's definitely on the mend from injury, getting minutes for Argentina. But let's talk about Brazil, as they drew 1-1 with Venezuela. Richarlison managed 64 minutes, 0 shots, only 15 touches, 0 key passes. 4 out of his 5 passes were successful. He got 1 out of his 4 ground duels and 2 out of his 3 aerial duels. So unfortunately, it seems like a similar story for Richarlison.
Yeah, it does seem that as well. Not to have a single shot. He just can't catch a break, can he? He just this guy, Joe. He needs one of the biggest slices of luck. We thought that would have been Sheffield United, and then obviously that hasn't seemed to materialise. I feel so sorry for the dude. I really do. But it's just not. He can't catch a break. And you would have thought going to Brazil and maybe getting a couple of games under his belt and reunited with his Brazilian teammates could do it. But it looks like this bad form and bad luck continues, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look, he usually does come off around this time for Brazil, with Gabi Jesus coming on in his place. But I mean, he just doesn't seem, every time I'm looking at his stats for Brazil, it's like 15 touches, 12 touches, 13 touches in an hour. I'm thinking, surely you've got to get yourself a bit more involved in the game. But I mean, maybe it's a bit unfair for me to say that because I didn't watch the game. So it's hard to analyze it properly.
Correct. You would just expect, Joe, it is with him playing for Brazil as well. And we know how Brazil play, and especially with the front three, you would think that their main striker in this game, or their preferred number 9, would have more touches and more opportunities,
especially
in a game.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's what we're taking from it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And for Brazil to draw 1-1 with Venezuela at home, I mean, that is a poor result by their standards, isn't it?
Completely.
Next up, Heung-min Son. South Korea beat Tunisia by 4-0, and another player that got a much deserved and much needed rest. No minutes whatsoever for Heung-min Son. So Jurgen Klinsmann came through for us.
That's it. Wunderbar. Mate, thank God.
And you're talking about the needed rest for Kulusevski. How much was that needed for Sonny?
Oh my God. I mean, we're like we said, we saw, and Simeon mentioned it as well, and he said he looked in significant pain when you saw the footage of him coming off against Liverpool. Then obviously he played against Luton. And then we were worried about him making the journey and then playing in these games. And Jurgen's given him a rest. And if there was one player we could say that desperately needed a rest, it was Heung-min Son. So thank you, Jurgen. And hopefully he doesn't get a single minute against Vietnam either.
Yeah, let's hope so. England beat Australia by 1-0. James Maddison playing 73 minutes, 1 key pass, 94% passing accuracy, 2 out of his 4 dribble attempts successful, 2 out of his 4 ground duels, 0 shots, but 1 big chance created for James Maddison. And I did see one clip from James Maddison where he did really nice move to get into the box, and he just completely sliced his shot. It went out for a throw on. So let's just say it's a good thing that he's getting all those things out of his system in an England shirt and not a Tottenham shirt.
It isn't, but Joe, the thing I want to bring up here with it's mainly with Gareth Southgate. Isn't it amazing that when we had Harry Kane, who was like our star player, whether we thought he had too many games or whatever, friendlies, no matter what, Harry Kane played. He makes that move to Bayern Munich. We have a friendly against Australia. Oh, you sit on the bench for 90 minutes, mate. And then we have James Maddison, who needs a break as well, who has been playing non-stop. Oh, you come on for 70. I don't get it. But what I do like the fact is James Maddison is now getting England recognition. We talk about the big club. When they're playing for a big club, they may get more minutes. And it's proven so. Even though Gareth Southgate says, oh, I don't pick on form or whatever, I only play form players. It's shown what he's doing. It's good to see him get the minutes, and it's good to see him come off. I just hope he doesn't play in the second game.
Yeah, me and you both, my friend. But you're talking about recognition from their international team, and that is Mickey van de Ven. He definitely got his recognition this week, making his debut for the Netherlands, coming on for the last 10 minutes in a 2-1 loss against France. And I saw this clip on social media that was just like Mickey van de Ven in a nutshell. Malo Gusto just trying to outpace van de Ven on the right-hand flank. And van de Ven was just like, nope. And just gets in there, and Malo Gusto pretty much had no chance. And it reminded me a lot of those moments in the Liverpool game when he kind of outpaced Cody Gakpo without getting out second gear, really.
Well, Ben, you have just stolen every single line I was about to use. I just didn't know I didn't know the player's name from France. But you know what I'm likening it to now? I'm now likening it to when you're growing up as a kid, you have a race with your dad. Your dad gives you a head start, and then you start right, and then you have. That's what Mickey van de Ven does. He's basically good. You start running, and then when I think you think you've won, I'm just going to blitz past you. I keep saying this, especially when I'm with you, Ben. I don't think we realise. I don't think he's getting out of second gear. I think he is in a light, like I said, let's run because the bus is coming run. And he hasn't even gone at full pelt yet. He is a frighteningly fast player, and he is just incredible. And the greatest thing to that was the Dutch fans' reaction when he won that run and cleared the ball. It was like a standing ovation, and he has come on. And for him to get his first minutes is another Spurs player that's gone on to get his first international cap with us, and fully deserved.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right, and let's move on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Denmark beat Kazakhstan by 3-1. 2 key passes, 1 dribbles successfully out of his 1 tried, 3 out of his 7 ground duels, 1 out of his 2 aerials, and 89% pass completion rate. And there's also, like Cuti Romero, there's also a stat for Pierre-Emile Højbjerg Pierre has made more successful final third passes, which is 183, than any other player in the Euro 2024 qualification. So, look, Pierre having another really strong game, albeit it is against Kazakhstan. But is he showing with his form for Denmark and maybe the cameos that he's having at Tottenham that there is still value for him there?
So first of all, I'm getting very annoyed with you taking all my key stats that I thought I could add weight to the conversation. It's like you're a professional at this or something. Listen, I don't think we have to take this seriously. That stat, just like Romero's, and everyone will wax lyrical about Romero's because it's Romero. You think about the kind of players that are playing in the Euro qualification for their their respective countries. To have that stat is something to be very, very proud of.
Yeah.
And to be the kind of player he is and gets the grief for not making those kind of passes, he's kind of letting the stats do the talking, isn't he? As you know, I'm a fan of his. I've always said if a better player comes along, even though I like him, then you upgrade. That's how I always look at it. It doesn't matter who it is. We spoke about this when we were doing unpopular opinions. I don't want him to go in January. I don't. If he goes in the summer, that could be, and he's got his new agent, obviously, because what happened in the summer didn't quite materialise. He can bring a lot to the team, especially when we talk about Bissouma and Sarr going away for the international duty for the African Cup of Nations in January. I think he can bring a lot to the team. He's not getting the recognition, especially after the cameo he had against Luton, and when he's come on in other games to just hold the game up and do the part. Obviously, it's just whether a case of Pierre will want to stay and be that bit part player. But I think he's not getting enough credit for what he's been doing.
Yeah. What would you say if it was like help us out for that AFCON period, and then maybe let him go on the last day of the window in January?
That could be an option. That could be an option, but then we've got to make sure there's a deal agreed and a fee agreed kind of within Pierre. Like, we're not going to try and lowball, or sorry, not lowball, try and get more money out of them. There's got to be a lot of things that line up. But if that's what he wants, I think it's imperative we have to keep him whilst those two are away. Imperative. And if he states a desire to leave in January, then that's got to be a route we go down, hasn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. But can't you see from his perspective, like, why he would want to leave? Like, when you look at his stature in the squad last season compared to this season.
It's not just that, Ben. You've got to look at, he's doing very, very well for Denmark. There's a European Championship coming.
Yeah.
And he'd want first team minutes. Listen, I think Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is one of those players that will get into the Danish team, even if he stays on at Spurs playing a bit part, just because of his dependability, his fitness, that he's always available. I don't think he's placed any doubt, but I'm sure he's going to want to get as many minutes in as possible. And to be fair, like you said, from where he was last season to this season, could you blame him?
Yeah, exactly. But that's Pierre again having a very strong international break. And let's finish off talking about the Italians, Destiny Udogie and Vicario, as Italy beat Malta by 4-0. Vicario was an unused stub, but Destiny Udogie came on for the final 10 minutes for his debut and did grab an assist. Got some quotes from him, and he says, "I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Representing the Italian national team has always been my dream. My Tottenham season is going very well, and I want to keep going and give 100%. Tuesday's match against England is precious for us, and we must stay focused. I dedicate my departure to my family and everyone who has supported me so far." And it was actually a really impressive assist as well. I don't know if you saw it. He was like in between like three players, muscling them off, showing his physical presence, and found a really good pass in between one of those players. I think it was Fratesi did the rest and took it past another player and put it in the bottom corner. But Destiny, in 10 minutes that he was on, he was definitely showing his value for Italy, and maybe he'll get more minutes in the game against England in midweek.
Yeah, I mean, I think she'd love to hear. I didn't even know he only had 10 minutes. I thought he made his debuts in, but I knew he got the assist. But to come on for 10 minutes and grab an assist, what better as a left back? What more could you want from a 10-minute cameo? And again, like we said with Van de Ven, it's another Spurs player getting his international debut in a Spurs shirt, which is a wonderful thing to see. And we've all seen at close quarters what an asset this kid is. And the thing I'm amazed with, you look at it, Ben. We were at the Burnley game and we saw him rob the defender off the ball to set up Maddison.
Yeah,
he started the thing against Sheffield United for Kulusevski. It was him robbing the player off the ball. He's just non-stop. His power, pace, his athleticism, everything. It's an incredible thing to see. And for him to get his Italian debut at 20, it's just a wonderful achievement for him. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to go on from strength to strength. But
Correct.
How nice is it when you're looking at the international break so far? This is so far. Heung-min Son, rested. Kulusevski, rested. Van de Ven, 10 minutes. Udogie, 10 minutes. I mean, we couldn't really have asked for much more, could we?
Oh, did Van de Ven only get 10 minutes as well?
Yeah.
Oh, outstanding. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're halfway there in the international break. Or Wales have had their 2 games, so that's Ben Davies coming back. But for the first team regulars, it's all been good. Romero obviously got his 90 minutes, but he looks like he can play. He doesn't look any injury concerns or anything at the moment. And when he plays like that, when they're in that kind of form, some certain players just need to keep playing, don't they, to keep that form? Whereas people like Son, who has picked up a knock, need this time to recuperate. And also, we've got to think Brennan Johnson will be recovering. Mate, things are looking good.
The future is bright. The future is lily white. Let me just run through who you can expect to catch in action over the next couple of days. So tomorrow night is Sweden against Belgium, where Dejan Kulusevski could potentially be playing. Senegal are playing Cameroon in France. Pape Matar, hopefully, maybe he'll get some minutes, but he doesn't have long to travel, which is good news. Netherlands are playing away to Greece tomorrow night, so Mickey van der Ven might get some more minutes there. Tuesday, you've got South Korea at home to Vietnam at 12 p.m. kickoff, where Heung-min Son should probably get some minutes in that game. Mali plays Saudi Arabia in Portugal, so Bissouma is not going to have that long to travel as well. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is going to be traveling to San Marino with Denmark. Italy are playing England. That's going to be a tightly contested game between James Maddison, Destiny Udogie, and Vicario. And then on Wednesday morning, Brazil play Uruguay in a 1 a.m. kickoff where Richarlison will probably get some minutes. And Argentina face Peru at 3 a.m. with Lo Celso and Romero in the squad. So we'll see what happens and see how many minutes those players do get on those respective games. But Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. Tell the people where they can find you and what is happening this week on your channel.
Well, first of all, it's always a pleasure to spend time with you and We Are Tottenham TV. Second of all, it doesn't really matter how far Bissouma's got to travel. He's suspended, isn't it? Typical. He's played in Portugal. The one time he's playing local is the one time he's suspended. And yeah, they can find me on Tottenham on Tour with Ben, Brian Ireland, Amir, Johnny, Ryan, and Danny Kiriakou when he decides to appear. There's going to be quite a bit coming this week. We've been a bit quiet last week. Obviously, international breaks, not a lot to talk about. But we'll be back, and Andrew Management will be back after Fulham, which we can't wait for. So lots to come from Tottenham on Tour, brother.
Brilliant. Well, everyone go and hit that subscribe button on Tottenham Tour. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button here on We Are Tottenham TV as well. And like I said at the beginning of the video, do go and check out our brand new website, wattv.co.uk. And we'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.